Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jeevanam Kubhiviritam Kalmasapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadasatam Bhuvi Grinanti Ye Burida Janaha Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Lord, your gospel is like nectar and bliss, showered upon the pain-stricken lives of suffering humanity. It dispels all the sins and misdeeds of life. It brings spiritual welfare in life. The spiritual beauty, prosperity and grace spreads through and through one who listens to your holy message. They are the real givers in the world who preach and pronounce the nectar of your message to the suffering humanity. Om peace, peace, peace. So we are reading the Gospel of Ramakrishna and we are on page 862. Sri Ramakrishna was at Sampuku and Dr. Sarkar has come to see him, and naturally this discussion turns into spiritual talks whenever the doctor comes to see Ramakrishna. So rather than like a patient and doctor relationship, it becomes different. It becomes a discussion with a spiritual discussion between one person who is well versed in Western science and all this knowledge of Western education, and another person doesn't go to school or anything, even didn't know so-called formal education. So that is the conference is very unique conference, and so we can see the depth of it, and then we can find that how Dr. Sarkar is gradually changing his inner ideas and thoughts about spirituality. And so Sri Ramakrishna was talking about the path of discrimination, and also he said that there is a path for devotion. So last we read, it says about the middle master, but God can also be realized through the path of devotion. Once the devotee develops love for the lotus feet of God and enjoys the singing of His name and attributes, he does not have to make a special effort to restrain his senses. For such a devotee, the sense organs come under control of themselves. So he is saying that the Vedanta says, not this, not this, not this, give up, give up, give up. But bhakti is not like that. You need not have to give up anything. You need not have to give up anything. You only give a turn and twist to your attitude of living. What our Swami Sarvadevananda is coined what? Attitudinal correction. To changing the attitude. The way you look, way you see, just see God in that and turn it towards Godward. Your love, your anger, your frustration, all can be turned towards God. And then this is the easier path, not to be so strong to restrain and cut and chop that idea. It is so bhakti has been praised like that. And today Master is talking that a lover of God does not burn himself to death like a moth. If you fall attracted to God, then what will happen? The world will be all gone. I will have no pain, family, nothing, God only. So, like a moth feels attraction for the fire, when there is a flame, moth normally feels attracted, and he runs and falls into it and dies. So is it like that these devotees will be loving God, will die like that? No, that is not like that. The lover of God does not burn himself to death like a moth. The light to which he rushes is like the light of a gem. It is not a burning flame that will kill, but it is soothing experience of peace. That light is brilliant, no doubt, the light of the gem, light of God. That light is brilliant, no doubt, but it is also cooling and soothing. That light does not scorch his body, it gives him joy and peace. So, people may think that if we love God, what will happen to my everything? Everything will be perfectly fulfilling, because as Ramakrishna's example, putting one behind the zeros, it becomes more valuable. And only 0, 0, 0 no meaning, but turning the attention of a devotee's attitude, as Ramakrishna says, to put God there, a relationship will be divine relationship. Anger will be elevated to God realization. So how to change our attitude and then get the benefit? And it is not that of the thing is given the moth example, as also in ordinary human love, what happens? There is so much of pain and anguish, and later on, because God element is missing, human element comes in the forefront. The human imperfections, one person looking at the other person very closely, be it from a distance, we can keep our respect and love. When we become very close, to keep respect and love is very difficult, because all the things I can see. Because in me is also there. So I see those things. So that's why it becomes bitter. But if one can see God, the divine, my beloved Lord, in others, then what happens? Other aspect, the focus is, as Holy Mother said, don't see fault with others. Means what? Mother said that there is no fault in others. There is fault. But you don't see that aspect. You see the other aspect. Holy Mother said, if anyone does anything for me a little, I remember him all through her, all through my life with that. And what we do? You do 99 things good for me and say one word against one day. I will forget all 99. I will take that one and then keep my anger and frustration and vehement as opposition, whatever we do. So this is the problem with us. That's why if it is divine relationship, then divine comes in the forefront, then it becomes a smooth journey. That's why Narada Bhakti Sutra also in our yoga and bhakti aphorism, it is this love, it grows continuously. It does not win away. It is all Amrita Swarupacha. It is of the nature of Amrita, nectar. It is not burning. A person who loves God, lover of God, becomes totally saturated with inner peace and tranquility. Their face looks like that. We see those people who are repeating the holy name of the Lord, or they are really practicing devotional thing. You can see their changes in their face, in their personality. So because it is God is all love and soothing, so naturally its effect will be different. So Sri Ramakrishna emphasizes that. Is the heart, it gives him joy and peace. It is not burning. One realizes God. Last paragraph of the 862. One realizes God by following the path of discrimination and knowledge. But this is an extremely difficult path. It is easy enough to say such things as, I am not devotee, mind or intellect. I am beyond grief, disease and sorrow. I am the embodiment of existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. I am beyond pain and pleasure. I am not under the control of the sense organs. But it is very hard to assimilate these ideas and practice them. Suppose I see my hand cut by a thorn and blood gushing out, then it is not right for me to say, why? My hand is not cut by the thorn. I am all right. In order to be able to say that, I must first of all burn the thorn itself in the fire of knowledge. So this is the point. Vedanta is good. Vedanta is the ultimate truth, undoubtedly. But it has its own competence. So called students should be competent to do that. We rarely pay emphasis on that side. It is very philosophically, intellectually, it is very satisfying. I am really not the body. I can analyze 100 times. But look at that. If I am not the body, and you say a simple one word, and I jump like a monkey, and react, and fight, and anger. Why? How? This, that. So all these reactions are coming. Why? You are Brahman, you are Atman, then why it is so? So question is that this Atman Brahman is the ultimate truth, but we have some preparation for that. Preparatory condition is necessary. The mind should be made ready by meditation, prayer, selfless work. When mind becomes fit, that's why Adhikari too, who is competent for Vedanta. Adhikari too, what is that? Those conditions, if they say, apatato adhigato akhila vedartha, not Vedas, you understand the meaning, the apparent overall meaning of all the Vedas. That means you have read those Vedas and you understood Sanskrit and then you understand its meaning. Apatato adhigato akhila vedartha. Usmin janmani janmantareva kammo nishiddha varjana purusharam. In this life or in the other life, previous life, you are so pure, kammo, the work related to our fulfilling our desires, and nishiddha, forbidden activity. Nishiddha varjana. That person has given up that type of activity, selfish activity, gratification of their own self. No, he does not do that work. That's one condition. And nishiddha, he never or she never did any forbidden act. Nishiddha varjana purusharam. Nitanto nirmala santa. He has become extremely pure in heart. Nitanto nirmala santa. That type of adhikari, that is the pramata. That person is to be entered into the school of Vedanta. So that is very, Sri Ramakrishna is warning that. In Bhagavad Gita also says that people, abhyakta hi gutir dukkham. Abhyakta hi gutir dukkham dehovadbhir avapyate. Dehovadbhir, those who are thinking, I am the body. We have not raised our consciousness above the body by the body idea. That type of people, what they should do, Dehovadbhir, that is the bondage that creates, and those who have body identity so much, that is not fit for this practice. They will make a mistake and misunderstand things differently and do wrong things and say, I am a Brahman, I am a Vedanta. No? So that story, a very common story, one person was caught into some thing, he did something wrong, so he was taken to the court and the judge then punished him with some punishment or something. He said, I am Atman, I don't do anything. Then the judge said, yes, I am not punishing Atman, I am punishing the body which did it. See, in a way, it is the body identity, keeping in the body identity fully with that, and saying that I am not the body is, but as a sadhana, as a spiritual practice, we should do. But we should be aware that here is the problem. Otherwise, what will happen? With that example, that a man is rowing the boat to go somewhere and work hard and harder and see that boat is standing in the same place. Why? One mistake, to take out the anchor. Anchor was, forgot to lift the anchor. And rowing of the boat, lifting the anchor means detaching from body, detaching from the mind and detaching from the associated things of the world, so that anchoring with the sense object and the sensory world. That's why Vedanta Adhikari. Adhikari is very, very few people are competent for Vedanta. But practice is always good, but to remember this, that is the point. Because Swamiji came to preach Vedanta here, you know. I'm not saying Vedanta is wrong, not that. Rather, it is to be aware of that we practice Vedanta, but we should be aware of that we should have to get out of our attachments, inclinations, mental inclination, intellectual inclination, physical inclination. We'll leave. But bhakti, if we add together, all, it can be both the ideas, jnana bhakti, jnana bhakti. That's why Ramakrishna preached the samanaya, the harmony, harmonious development of all the faculties, the jnana and the devotion and meditation and others. So Sri Ramakrishna said that it is easy enough to say such things that I am not the body, etc. I am beyond grief, disease, sorrow. I am the embodiment of existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute, etc. I am not under the control of the sense organs. But it is very hard to assimilate these ideas and practice them. That's why he said, many people think they cannot have knowledge or understanding of God without reading books. Another point. For the people who are educated people, they have the idea that I have read this book, read this book, read this book. That's why it is said, don't read books, so many. Because you are reading the books of people who are also not God-realized souls. They are intellectual people. So you are reading you are preparing your mind in their view, their way of looking at that. Only that's why it is said, read things who are written by the experienced people. Buddhas, Dhammapada you read Sarvadevananda on the Mount, Bible you read, Gita you read, Upanishad you read, because they are the revelation, they have experienced that, and what they are saying, that is true. But one, andhenaiva niyamana jathanda, one, a blind person, he has not realized God. He is reading 20 books. How many books are written? Most of the books are written what? Original, some thought comes, and collecting all the data from here and there, we make a book or article or whatever we do. It's good for intellectual exercise, and it's good for our spiritual practice also. It's a part of spiritual, as we do in our Ramakrishna tradition. We are giving class and this and that. That was very old question, that when our teachers or our seniors say that, go and give lecture and talk. Then everyone reasons, why are you asking me? What do I know? What shall I say? Swami P. Prabhupada, when he came, so he was asked to come here in this country. He said, what do I know? What shall I say? Then what he said, that's not your business. We will look after that. That means, you see, what is indicating at that, it is you have to be humbled, you have to surrender to God, and God will speak through you. You keep your ego, your understanding, then you will have to handle those situations. So here is the question, that mind should be ready to be purified under the context in which we are reading these books. Not book reading is good to, that's why Shankaracharya also said, no, book reading is good, but it is one type of fun, one type of joy. It is intellectual, intellectual joy. We get physical joy by eating ice cream. We got ice cream today, very good ice cream. So, so that is the physical enjoyment. I see something good, that's a beautiful scene to see. It's that type of enjoyment of the eye. Similarly, it is enjoyment of the intellect. That's why I say what Sankara says, Bhagavai Khari, Shabdajari, Shastro, Vyakkhana Kaushalam, tadvad bhuktaye natu muktaye. Shankaracharya is saying, man of discrimination. His whole book is Viveka Chudamani, Aparakshanubhuti. All this is, all analyze, not this, not that, not this. It is superimposition, this, that. And he is saying, these are for your intellectual, it is intellectual gymnastic. You can get some fun out of that intellectualism. But natu muktaye. You may be a good speaker, your words will come like a flowery words, and flowing like a stream. No stoppage of word. Your vocabulary is great, your exposition is great. These are good, but this is only after that it can give the satisfaction, intellectual satisfaction. No mukti, not liberation. So Sri Ramakrishna points out that many people think that only reading books or acquiring knowledge or understanding of God without reading books, it is not possible. But hearing is better than reading, and seeing is better than hearing. Hearing about Benares is different from reading about it, but seeing Benares is different from either hearing and reading. No? Ramakrishna's example, see God. Talking about God, first to hear about God is good. Because when you read so many books, when someone summarizes that helps us to go to the core teaching. That's good. But that's not enough. Sravana, this is Sravana. In Bhakti school also will be saying that. We have to listen and then reflect and then dive deep to make it our own. We do that. Assimilation is more important than acquiring the knowledge. As in most places, assimilation of the ideas, let it flow through my bloodstream. That is the thought. Swamiji said, take one idea and make your life rotate around that idea and make it your life as your aim. That is the goal of life. So it should be so serious. If it is I am not the body, that will be reflected in every moment's thinking internally that I am not the body, whatever is happening, but I am not the body. So it should be so profound that it should go dive deep into the understanding of a person. So Sri Ramakrishna says that without hearing is better than reading. You read big book, someone summarizes it, our gurus, our teachers do help that way. So concentrated, knowing many is called knowledge in the external sense, but knowing one is the knowledge, real knowledge. I know. Bahu gyan agyan. Ek gyan gyan. Bahu gyan, knowing so many things. It is, that's why Swami Mahapurush Maharaj used to say, some person has come to meet him and asking about spiritual question. Then Mahapurush Maharaj said, do you want to hear your question response in one word? Simple, come to me. If you want to hear it in so many ways, go to Swami Omkarananda, his disciple. He's a vast scholar, he knows about Vedas and this, and he can challenge people. He said, okay, one great scholar came to him and he was challenged. And he said, okay, first of all, okay, I will respond to your question. First, let me say, which language you want to speak? Let us finalize the language first. Sanskrit, all the conversation, or English, or in Bengali. He gives so many alternatives. And he got frightened that the person who come to show their intelligence, it is in not that. Many things, many way you want to understand, that's the beginning stage. We should know, we should analyze, we should discriminate, we should have two different ideas, how all these different ideas can be brought down into one idea. All ideas are the expression of one idea. So how to go to that? There is necessity of that. But one will have to go next to reflect, deeply thinking, does it make any sense, what I heard, and then assimilate, it should. So that's why food also, we take food. Food is here, I am here. That does not give us satisfaction. Food should come into the mouth. Ice cream there, and I am here, not satisfaction. Ice cream should come to my tongue. And that will not do. It should get assimilated in my system. Otherwise, if it creates reaction, then it's called health hazard, no? So spiritual health hazard, if we do not assimilate. That's why it is said, whatever you are to give a student of 4th grade, you cannot give the subject matter which you are giving for a 10th grade boy or girl, no? It will be disastrous for the child, because he is not ready to have that upset, will stomach upset, like that, physical and mentally. That's why we call those who learn too many things at the very beginning, they know, knowing many things, talking about many things, but no depth in anything. So therefore, it becomes difficult. I see that many boys come here, oh my God, I have not read those books. He has read all Buddhism, Jainism, and all the deep philosophy of this Bada, that Bada, and then they cannot correlate. And they see everywhere it is differentiation. This is all contradictory. As much contradiction one feels, that much his understanding is lacking. Understanding grows, then all will be able to assimilate, all the teachings, they can relate. That's why we have seen our sadhus, when they talk about any, even reading for any other text, not the Vedanta text, they can relate with this ultimate truth easily. Christian mystics, when they read their life or their some saying, they can easily connect with it, because assimilation is more important rather than as just eating food, whatever I like, very healthy food, strong food, good food for one person, not for me. So I should be strong enough. So that will make Sravana, Manana, Nididhyasana to be concentrated. First listening is better. Reading much better is listening, and then listening to gradually understanding, and understanding to absorption. Those actually engaged in a game of chess do not always judge the move on, the board correctly. The onlookers often judge the moves better than the players. Worldly people often think themselves very intelligent, but they are attached to the things of the world. They are the actual players and cannot understand their own move correctly. But holy men who have renounced everything are unattached to the world. They are really more intelligent than the worldly people. Since they do not take any part in the worldly life, their position is that of onlookers, and so they see things more clearly. That's, of course, it happens. When my problem comes, I tell somebody, they can objectively analyze that. I see that our doctors, they're good doctors, very famous doctors, they are treating everyone, giving advice to everyone. But when it comes to his own health, but for something, he feels so much nervous, because he is attached to here, and he does not know. He knows all the medicines. He told me that I know the medicines, but I know what is the side reaction. Achha, shall I take it? Shall I take that? And we don't know anything. Doctor said take it, but we take it. So that's why it is being attached to the body, they become really difficult for onlookers. Always can give a better judgment than person who is involved into it. That's why in the court case, why the witness word is an objective observer who have observed this situation and just gives the statement, this has happened, that has happened. But when it is happening with me, I will say that the other car's fault, not my fault. Though I know a little bit I did something, but justification will come. It is not, he did the mistake, and I didn't do anything. So always we be attached to our own inclinations. Therefore Sri Ramakrishna said, there should be observing attitude should be there. That's why Vedanta says what? You are the observer, no? Everything is happening, your body mind is acting, just observe that, observe that. That's why, what is the book? Sakshi. Sakshi Shakso. Drik Drishya Vivek. Drik Drishya Viveka. Drik is the observer, Drik is the observer, Drishya is the object. So there is the object and I am the observer. The external object, eyes are the observer. Eyes, no, eyes don't do. It's a brain. Brain to mind. Mind is observer. Mind is observed by the intellect. Intellect is observed by eye. Eye is observed by that cosmic consciousness. So stand there at the back, that everything is happening. I am observing my mental actions and reactions, my physical things. So I am an observer, not the observed. So that makes us detached. When I get attached to it, I lose my judgment. So in Vedanta, that is the practice should be. So the actual players cannot understand their own moves. Actually, when we are involved into it, we don't see our own fault. And then when someone as an observer observes and tells us this is not this, this is this, then we understand much better and we can understand what is my fault or not. So he is giving the suggestion. Who are these people who can help us? It is the holy men. That's why Swamiji, Sri Ramakrishna says so much, no? Satsanga. Even in Bhakti Sutras, they say Satsanga, holy association. And Satsangas too, Durlabha. This type of holy people are not available all the time. And Amogha, but if we get touch of their holy men's touch, their impact is bound to change our life. Durlabha, amoghascha. It is amogha. Amogha means it will bear its effect. Maybe now or later. Because holy people's grace and compassion, their touch, their presence, this is a life, is an example before us. They live that life. So even there is a statement, what is called? Kshanamiha sajjana shangati reka bhavati bhavarnava tarane nauka. To cross the ocean of this worldliness, what is the best medicine is holy company, sadhu sangha. Sadhu sangha, sarva shastre koi. All the scriptures talk about holy company. Sri Ramakrishna is saying, holy men who have renounced everything. Holy men means not only externally showing Geruva cloth or I am a holy man, no. Who have renounced internally and externally and are unattached to the world, they are really more intelligent than worldly people. Since they do not take any part in worldly life, their position is that the onlooker's position. Sri Ramakrishna used to sing, this world is a Sanshar Majarkut, it is a place of fun. It is a fun zone. এই সংসার মজার কুটি আমি খাই দাই আর মজা লুটি I eat, sleep and drink and then I dance only. Everything is joy, 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 joy for a realized soul because he does not get attached to the happiness comes, okay, thank you, thank God. Misery comes, thank God. They become detached to both the happiness and misery, pleasure and pain. That's the Brahmajnani's situation. Sthita Pragya situation, and it has been in the Bhagavad Gita and everywhere. So they become Matto bhavati, stabdho bhavati, atmaramo bhavati. They become absorbed in themselves sometimes. They dance, sometimes enjoy. Sometimes they become stupefied, as it were. So they live in that joyful state all the time because they are detached, not attached to the objects where we cling on. Doctor. Then doctor is putting some question or comments to the devotees. If he, meaning Ramakrishna, had studied books, he could not have acquired so much knowledge. Dr. Sarkar is now accepting this idea that book learning is not the all. Ramakrishna did not, without reading any book, what he is saying. It makes so much sense. That's why he said, had he studied books, he could not have acquired so much knowledge. Faraday communed with nature. That is why he was able to discover many scientific truths. He could not have known so much from mere study of the books. Mathematical formulas only throw the brain into confusion and bar the path of original inquiry. That's true, all the discoveries, whatever comes, it comes from intuition, observing, no? The apple is falling all through since the creation. But it was meant for someone to observe that and make him thoughtful. All the inventions, or inventions or discoveries, whatever, it comes from a different level. That observing this, the planes are created. How? Birds are flying. And then first idea, and then how it went on and on in developing that idea to make it something for the human personality. Sri Ramakrishna. There was a time when I lay on the ground in the Panchavati and prayed to the Divine Mother, O Mother, reveal to me what the karmis have realized through their ritualistic worship, what the yogis have realized through yoga, and what the jnanis have realized through discrimination. How much I communed with the Divine Mother. How can I describe it at all? Ah, what a state I passed through. Sleep left me completely. Sleep left me completely. He didn't give up the sleep, but sleep left him completely, because he was so much absorbed. There was time when I lay on the ground in the Panchavati and prayed to the Divine Mother, O Mother, reveal to me what the karmis have realized. So here he's practicing that all the paths, end of the journey, they have acquired something. Oh Mother, show me that conclusion. How much I communed with the Divine Mother. That's why that earnestness, just these are instructions to us, how we should be intense in our sincere practice. And that's why he said, how I can describe it all, how much I communed with the Divine Mother, and what a state I passed through. Sleep left me day and night. How one can be like that, day and night? When you find that Sri Ramakrishna, in his later period, they're all Nore and Rakhal, they're coming, and their description, this we don't find that Sri Ramakrishna is sleeping. Oh, and then maybe for a few minutes or 1 hour, I do not know how long. And then when they are woke up from their sleep in the midnight, they are seeing the Ramakrishna is clapping his hand and going and chanting the name of Mother. He is no sleep all night. How, if we try to understand that, if man will be crazy if he does not sleep. But how could Sri Ramakrishna stay in that state? Sleep is necessary, as I analyze this way. Sleep is necessary for what? To soothe the nerves. The eyes are working whole day, the nerves are tired. You say, okay, you need not have to work anymore, sleep. It gets rested. Yeah, hearing is how many sounds are coming all day. and all the connection going all the time, brain and coming back, and they're so much busy. That's okay, Baba, you need not have to do anything, sleep. That is the purpose of sleep, to give rest to the whole system. But when Ramakrishna-like person or any real, even ordinary Jivan Muktas, when they go into that state, they go into that state where this body, they don't keep any identity with the body. Body has no function. There may be beating of the drums, they don't hear. They are absorbed in the inner light. So they don't need that sleep. Their meditation is sleep. That's why he sang. Master sang, my sleep is broken. How can I slumber anymore? For now I am wide awake in the sleeplessness of yoga. That is the point. He is awake in the sleeplessness of the yoga practice, no? Communion with God, and he is so much absorbed inside, so much joy inside. Why we crave for sleep? Because in the sleep is the point when our nervous system stops functioning and we feel the most closeness to the Atman with the barrier of ignorance, last barrier. And there people find joy because that is closest to the eternal joy. It is like I am here, the bulb is on and its heat is radiated, but if I go and touch the bulb, then I can feel this heat. I don't find heat here. So one who goes into that state of susupti state in everyday's life, they go very close to that light with a veil of ignorance, and there you can feel the warmth on the other side coming, little bit percolated. And that's why everyone feels so much joy in sleep. But that sleep is the way we enjoy. But yogis, Sri Ramakrishna is singing, my sleep is broken, that sleep is gone. How can I slumber anymore? And for now, I am wide awake. Awake on what? In the sleeplessness of yoga. That is the condition. My sleep has gone and I am awake. That's why mind is awake. That is the distinction between sleeping every day and meditating and going to samadhi. Going to samadhi, one ordinary person becomes saint. And going to sleep every day, the old guy goes and comes back same. I am the same old guy as I was yesterday. And I go to sleep today. Tomorrow morning I will be the same guy. No transformation of my character. Because there is ignorance, is the veil. But one can meditate strongly and just move on and on and on and on and go there. Mind is awake. That veil of ignorance is broken there. Then they will see the light and light. They will feel the identification with joy. O Divine Mother, made one with Thee in yoga, made one with Thee in yoga sleep at last. My slumber I have lulled asleep forevermore. A man has come to me from a country where there is no night. Rituals and devotions have all grown profitless for me. So a land, that means a guru has come in my life and is a land carrying the message of that, so I am awake in that consciousness. He continued, I have not read books, Ramakrishna says. It is he means Ramakrishna. I have not read books, but people show me respect because I chant the name of the Divine Mother. Shambhu Mallik said about me, here is a great hero without a sword or shield, and everyone burst into laughter. The conversation turned to the performances of a drama by Girish Ghosh called The Life of Buddha. The doctor had seen the play and been much pleased with it. Doctor to Girish, you are a very bad man. Must I go to the theatre every day? Master to him, what does he say? I don't quite understand. M says the doctor liked the play very much. Master to Ishan, why don't you say something? Ishan is a very great scholar. So Ramakrishna is saying, why don't you say something? Pointing to the doctor. He does not believe in God, in that God. He does not believe that God can incarnate himself in a human form. So, Sri Ramakrishna is asking Pandit, the scholar, that you talk to this doctor. He does not believe that God can be incarnated in a human form, like a ordinary person as we see as a human body. Ishan, what shall I say, sir? I don't like to argue anymore. Master sharply, why? Won't you say the right thing? Then Ishan started talking to the doctor. Ishan said, our faith is shallow on account of our pride. It is said in the Ramayana that a crow named Bhushundi did not at first accept Rama as an incarnation of God. Once it incurred Rama's displeasure. It traveled through the different worlds, the lunar, the solar, and so forth, and through Mount Kailas to escape Rama's wrath. But it found that it could not escape. Then it surrendered itself to him and took refuge at his feet. Rama took the crow in his hand and swallowed it. Thereupon the crow found that it was seated in its own nest in a tree. After its pride had thus been crushed, the bird came to realize that through Rama, though Rama looked like any other man, yet he contained in his stomach the entire universe, the sky, moon, sun, stars, oceans, rivers, men, animal, and trees. So telling that story, Ishan tried to understand that God can incarnate. Rama was an incarnation. That was the knowledge of Bhushundi, the crow. Master said to the doctor, it is very difficult to understand that God can be a finite human being and at the same time the all-pervading soul of the universe. The absolute and the relative are his two aspects. How can we say emphatically with our small intelligence that God cannot assume a human form? Can we ever understand all these ideas with our little intellect? Can a 1 share pot hold 4 share of milk? So Sri Ramakrishna is saying to the doctor, you want to understand avatar. What will you understand? Your mind is so little. You can only understand this much. In the mind, that should give the example. It says a 1 pound container you keep. Can you keep 4 pound material there? So no, your mind is so limited it cannot gas. That's why mind should die. That's why manonasa. The spiritual practice means what we are doing every day, we are trying to kill our mind, not to pamper our mind. Killing our mind means mind trying to understand the divine will fail to understand. And then we will say mind is not the right tool. But mind is the best tool. For our everyday action, there is no greater tool than that of mind. We can go to the sun and moon, to the mind, and it's the fastest moving car, you can say, fastest moving thing in the world, mind, more than the light movement of the light, no? The fastest thing in the mind. But mind is not enough to fathom the infinite aspect of the divine. So, Sri Ramakrishna says, it is difficult to understand God, that God can be a finite human being, at the same time all-pervading soul of the universe. How can it be? But the absolute and relative are two. That is the Sri Ramakrishna's unique contribution. Absolute aspect and the relative aspect. These are two aspects of same absolute divine. What is Satchidananda Brahman? Satchidananda Krishna, Satchidananda Rama. We sing the song. Shuddha Brahma Paratparo Ram. First word, Shuddha, pure, stainless. Shuddha Brahma. You are Brahman. Shuddha, pure Brahman. Unadulterated by anything. Shuddha Brahma Paratparo Ram. The higher than the highest, that is Rama. Kalatmaka. Now in time, you accepted, you are trying to bind yourself in time, that this time I will be born, this time I will do this. So you are binding yourself in the time. Kalatmaka Parameshwara. You are really Parama Ishvara, the great Ishvara. But in the time, you have entered into time and you have become Rama. Dasarata Nandana Ram, you became Dasarata's son. You are absolute, you are infinite, Shuddha, pure Brahman. And if we read all this Krishna, when you are in the Bhagavad we are reading, they are praising Krishna. The same thing they are talking. You are infinite, you are birthless, you are deathless. By your Maya, you have taken this human body. So, it is why it cannot be. You say, how can God be? Then the question will go, why it should not be? You give your argument. Your argument you will say, no, as it is big, how can it be this at a time? If it is infinite, at the same time it is finite. The two opposite. But how it is reasonable? But because it is reasonable, you are thinking through your reason, the mind. Mind is very inadequate instrument to measure this philosophical idea. So it is said, it is not that. It can be finer than the finest, as is Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan Atma Janto Nihito Guhayam. This Atman is finer than the finest, much smaller than the smallest, subatomic particle. You go much more finer than that. So, and Mahato Mahiya, the vaster than the vastest. Biggest stars and galaxies go bigger. It's much bigger than that. Atma, and this Atman, which is smaller than the smallest, bigger than, at the same time, it is in the heart of all. Atma Vasya Janto Nihito Guhayam. Guha means the heart. Guha, cave. Cave of the heart. Just an example that the Lord resides in the cave of the heart. So He is everywhere. He is beyond. He is finer than the finest, smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest. At the same time, He resides in the heart of all. So how can you understand by just intellectual knowledge? So, okay. So the Sri Ramakrishna says, God can be a finite human being and at the same time the all-pervading soul of the universe. The absolute and the relative are His two aspects. How can we say emphatically with our small intelligence that God cannot assume a human form? Can we ever understand all these ideas with our little intellect? Can one shear means 2 pound, 2 pound pot hold 8 pound milk? Can it hold? Okay, so we end here today. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Now we have some questions from the... and tomorrow is whose class? Bhakti Yoga class. Tomorrow is Bhakti Yoga class. You are giving. Swami Shumanashananda will be giving the Bhakti Yoga class tomorrow, 7:30. So question is coming, how to keep calm when everyone around me are materialistic and discouraging me from spirituality? How to keep that one-pointedness towards the goal in such an environment? Your question is very legitimate question. But people do so many nasty things for their selfish purpose. You can do something not nasty, but intelligently avoid those group and not show your spirituality. Don't talk about your spirituality when you are meeting that type of people. Say make a little fun and this, and get out of that environment. We were to learn practical ways of avoiding those, and to keep it is really difficult. Everyone in spiritual life sometimes goes. One of our sadhu, holy man, but a monk, he in his college days, his family was though interested, but he used to live with some community where there is no such facility to study. So he used to keep this Ramakrishna's photograph, his guru's photograph, in the calculus book. And he is studying, and anyone coming and see that calculus book, and he has kept it in such a way, but actually he is keeping his eyes and meditating. With eyes open, maybe looking at Thakur, but calculus book and pen and everything is there, so no one disturbs him because he is studying something. They will object if you go to the Belur Math and do some other thing. Rather, you are studying, is a good boy, so he is doing something. Or you can chit-chat, they will be much happier. So you hide yourself. How you hide? You have to find means and ways in your own circumstances. And I think another thing I can suggest, that we have to pray to God, "Oh Lord, remove my obstacles." And by God's grace, it will happen. Second question, could you kindly explain a little of ritualistic worship? Ritualistic worship, we are all seeing ritualistic worship. Ritualistic worship means God is all pervaded, but we cannot worship God in that way. Yeah, those who can see the beauty of God in the flower and fruits, in the sky, in the full moon night, or in the rising of the sun, in the chirping of the birds, that they can cultivate this type of thing with one type of sadhana. But we want some concrete worship. So we think that Lord, who is all pervaded, He is my Ishta Devata, say Rama, Krishna, Ma Kali, Durga, Jesus, whatever may be the object. Then what? We try to think to worship Him. Worship idea is that how to keep the mind from other thoughts to the thought of God. So worship makes it easy. So people go for plucking the flowers. It is a part of worship. So when one goes to pluck the flowers, they think, oh, this flower will go at the feet of the Lord. This I will do the garland. This I will put for mother. This side I will keep this to the red flower for the air. So consciously, it is forcing the mind to think about the worship itself, and as if God is there waiting for me, I shall offer Him. So it is the impersonal God, which is not perceivable through the senses. We are trying to make Him a concrete form, and that concrete form we think that He is my heart, and I bring Him, I request Him, please come out and sit in this platform, in this asana, in this, and take my offering. That's the every day we do the puja, and then offer our flower, fruits, etc. It helps the mind to rotate around God and connected with God. So the incense we are doing, whenever you are waving incense, you think that you are offering it to God. So this worship, ritualistic worship, is very good at the beginning, but after some time when you are matured, it is said that mental worship is much better, that you can more intimately play with God inside. You can touch Him mentally, you can massage His feet, you can wash His feet, you can put some sandal paste, you can put some perfume, and you do garlanding, feeding Him. So like intimate service to the Lord. So these are the benefit of ritualistic worship. Another question, when a person is doing karma yoga and offers the results to God, is it ignorance to experience pleasure with ourselves for doing our best performing the task? Is it pride to feel self-satisfaction in a job well done while offering the results to God?
I think it may be that pride, or it may be a little satisfaction, but I think that is better. Oh Lord, I did your job as best as I can. I am offering it to you, joyfully. It is nothing wrong. It is that pride is good pride because it is offered to God. So I would suggest that yes, when we do and we find some pleasure, we get satisfaction. We said, okay, oh Lord, thank you. You gave me the opportunity to serve you. So I did my best and offer it to you, and I'm happy. That is nothing wrong. And also the pride, oh, I am successful. I did this job very well today. In your office you are doing some work. In your company you are doing some work. But you did it, think that it is you are doing for the Lord. And when you give it to Him, I say, proud, yes, I'm proud, Lord, I did your job good. Are you happy with it? If we can come in like that, then that is not bad. But pride should be, can be reduced by saying, oh Lord, it is nothing mine. You have given me the strength to perform this work, so I did it my best, so I offer it to you. Another question, when one is experiencing frustration, at that point in time, how does one direct it to God? What to say? Yes, we will say, frustration comes. You say, oh Lord, please give me strength. I cannot do anything, I know. I am worthless unless your power comes to me. At the frustration moment, it can be also elevated to God consciousness, because I know that it is not my power. Swami Sarvadevananda was one time here, and he was saying that day he wanted to speak in this platform from here, and he was trying to remember some Bengali song which he sang many times maybe, and that book, he's asking me to find a book, and we tried and we don't find it. And at the end, before coming to class, he said, oh my God, whole day I tried to remember that, I cannot do anything, frustration. And you know, I have sung this song about maybe hundreds of times in my life, but see, we are all powerless. So frustration can take us to surrender to God. Oh Lord, I understand that I have power, but you are proving me that I am nobody. You are everything. So that frustration can also be taken as an advantage. Another question, Ramakrishna and other saints categorized worldly education as a mere bread-earning education. Is it high time that we take it verbatim, because modern education is invariably producing people who are not humble but blind with the pride of their own academic achievement and mocker of religion and human value system? I think your question is correct, but this type of people are all the time there. In Ramakrishna's time it was there. In the Upanishadic time it was there. There are Charvak philosophers are there. They don't believe in God, they don't believe in anything. Idinam kritva ghritang privet. Make a credit card, use your credit card and loan as much as you can, and don't pay them. Don't have to think about that. So eat, sleep and be happy. So that philosophy was all the time. But a bread-earning education is necessary, because if the mind goes too much towards God, how many people will be of that mentality who will think, I don't want anything but God? So it is meant for them. We should not have to give up our office work and stop our job. Then who will feed me? Who will feed you? You need a roof on your head. You need a car insurance. Who will give the insurance money? Who will bring the grocery expenses? So you need it. So bread-earning education, that is for those people who under these circumstances even think, I don't want anything but God. What shall I do with it? So that type of mindset, if rare few people, in millions maybe few people will be of that type, no? In thousands there will be one or two. So they can think about, and they need not have to think. Their lifestyle will be forcing them to detach everything and go like a wandering monk. They will run here and there. Then even in this country, there are people who live in the forest and they are maybe in the caves and or some place just living in a very minimum thing and thinking of God. There are people. So it is a choice, but this should not be a formula for all of the people in the society. Of course, academic education is necessary. It brings pride. Sometimes we say as a Vedanta student, let you have some pride first. Let you have some money first. And then you say, I renounce. Otherwise, a penniless person cannot say, I have renounced. You have your high education, then you don't care, and you are learning for spiritual knowledge. Yes, that's a real renunciation. You could have your PhD, you have your higher education, you could earn good money, you are a prestigious person, you give up. That's called giving up. That is called renunciation. I have no education. I have not gone to the college even. I am renounced. I don't care for worldly education. No, that's not the point. You have something and then you give up. So that is called renunciation. And it is a mental state, not that everyone should have to have that higher PhD education or anything. But the question is that, you see, who can renounce? Who has something, he can renounce. If my pocket is already empty and I say, I renounce money. I have no money, then what is the question of my renouncing? So it should not be misunderstood like that. So it is, pride is first good, but I have acquired this. Now this pride should be humbled and given at the feet of the Lord. I got it because of you. So the pride becomes already diluted, purified, sanctified. When it touches this philosopher's stone, it becomes gold, no? So whenever we touch anything to God, my pride becomes a great boon for me. Oh Lord, this pride is because of you. You have given me the right understanding. You have given me this opportunity to stand. That's why I am here. So everything can be deified by this process. Thank you. Okay, good night. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So please come tomorrow, Swami Shumbhanashananda Bhakti class.